everybody. Welcome to this special screening of Heavy Metal in Baghdad. Could I please introduce the filmmaker, Saroush Alvi? It's called a rockumentary, but it's so much more, isn't it?
I think the film is a few different things. It's a travel story, it's a rockumentary, it's a story about war. My co-director and I, Eddie, we went to Iraq to find a heavy metal band and got a lot more than we bargained for.
Enjoy the film. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy.
They gave us these flak jackets, and they said, be prepared to be shot at. You'll probably have snipers shooting at you. And they said, your car is full of guns.
Saroush Alvi and Eddie Moretti were looking for a band that fit the counterculture ethos of New York-based Vice magazine, and they found one in Baghdad.
Yes!
And how did you guys decide to start a band, a metal band?
Well, if you really want to know what is the attraction, look around. We are living in the heavy metal world.
Yeah.
Marwan, Tony, Faisal and Faraz are a Krasa Kauda, the only Iraqi band that dared to play its heavy metal heart out. Struggling in a society that regards metal music as Western and satanic, Heavy Metal in Baghdad follows a Krasa Kauda over 4 years.
I mean, I'm in a big risk right now wearing this t-shirt because it's an American band and it's like that could get you killed in Baghdad.
Through Saddam's regime and its brutal aftermath, the band's music stands as a genuine heavy metal soundtrack to war.
You got the troops and you got the tourists outside, and we are stuck in the middle.
But with their practice space bombed out and under continual death threats, a Krasa Kauda fled to Damascus.
How long did it take to get from Baghdad to the border?
16 hours.
So you were freaking out for 16 hours?
Exactly, yeah.
Joining Syria's 1.2 million Iraqi refugees.
I'm just wondering why we can't travel. Is this crime that I'm Iraqi? And they think that all Iraqi people are terrorists? That's insane.
When Syria's refugee laws changed, the band fled to Turkey. Still refugees, but now they were armed with a demo recording paid for by Vice magazine.
For the first time, I'm coming back from studio, feeling like I done something today.
One of the things that you are very interested in, Vice, is subversive youth culture as well. And certainly this, in the eyes of many Iraqis, this is incredibly subversive music. I mean, this is not something that Marwan's mother sits around with the ladies over mint tea saying, my son plays heavy metal. She's embarrassed, I'd imagine. Maybe not anymore because you've made him a star.
Now she's a proud mother.
But in the past, it was taboo.
Yeah. The idea that there was a metal band in Baghdad was somewhat incomprehensible to us. And that's, you know, the impetus. We had to go there and see it for ourselves.
What we know in the Western world with heavy metal is a bunch of guys wearing tight leather pants, and they're probably rather middle class. These guys are genuinely singing about death, destruction, and you believe it.
These guys really have it hard. The playing field that they're on as a group of musicians is very different from a band here in London. You know, they feed off their environment. They were drawing a lot of inspiration for their music from the chaos of living through 3 wars.
This is where the rocket came from. It's hit the building from the side. It was a rocket, it wasn't something small.
Out of the depth of that sort of difficult situation, they managed to keep their sense of humour.
If there's such a thing as a comedy ladder, the Iraqis are very high up on it. They were constantly joking and riffing and making light of whatever situation that we were in.
Is that a car bomb or a mortar?
No, mortar round.
Mortar round?
Yeah.
Everybody start calling, seeing if we're still alive or not.
Are they?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Saddam song, though.
That's a great moment in the film.
Talk about comedy.
For them, it was a sellout move. You know, they had to compromise some of their artistic integrity in order to play this gig.
Like an Arabic saying we got, you know, to stay away from the devil, sing for it.
How did you find the music?
A little bit loud for me.
Sorry, I was actually thinking about you when the film started, and it seemed really loud. I was like, I wonder how the poor woman in the front row is doing right now. We almost turned the volume down just for you. So we thought, you know, she should enjoy this movie at 11.
I did enjoy it, yes. I thought it was very, very good that you focused on this small group of people to see how their lives have been destroyed by this invasion.
Nobody could live under the same circumstances that Iraqi could live in. I mean, nobody could live with death every day.
The greatest realization that I had when I got there was how ignorant I was to the Iraqi people and to the situation, and how little I knew about them. And that's when we, really had our minds blown that these guys are so fluent in English, they're sophisticated and educated and cultured, and I'm relatively well traveled, and I knew that little about it. What's it like for the average American who's supporting more troops to go in?
These are things that you lay your back on. These are things that you turn off the TV whenever, or like change the channel when it's on. So for you out there, this is how it goes. This is the daily life in Iraq.
They're now in Istanbul. Are they still that angry?
They are angry, they're sad, they are on the verge of being defeated. They can only put up this fight for so long, and it's really taking its toll. I mean, life as a refugee kind of sucks.
You below zero here, because in Baghdad you had the zero, you had your friends, you had everything, but here you have nobody except you and your music.
They're not very evolutionary, the band. They're kind of like circa 85, 86.
That's exactly right.
Old school metal.
Their music is not that refined. They're creating music in a bubble. And their musical influences before the internet were based on elder siblings passing a Metallica CD to them, a Michael Jackson CD to them. It's amazing to see them now finally out of that bubble. We're going to drop them into a free and open society in Istanbul and see how they fare. We asked the guys from Neurosis, who are a very respected old school metal band, what do you think? And they said, they're not there yet. They need to practice for a year.
But they know that, don't they? I mean, from when I met you, you said to me that since the documentary, they're practicing really hard because they know that they're being propelled onto the world stage, and they better be good.
They don't want to be seen as pretty good for a bunch of Iraqi refugees.
Yeah.
They want to be seen as a good metal band that can stand up with their peers in the metal world.
Thank you all for joining us and your wonderful questions. Can I please thank the filmmaker here? This is Sarush Alvi.
Bands in the West, bands in Brooklyn where our office is, they're all so spoiled compared to across Canada. In fact, we're all spoiled compared to these guys.
From Iraqi metal rockers treading a perilous post-war landscape to Rwandan filmmakers trying to come to terms with the 1994 genocide.
These are tutti cockroaches! Shoot them. What could I pay you not to do this? You wanna pay me? You name a price. 10,000 francs for each. So I don't have that much. Okay. Wait. Yeah.
In the 14 years since the slaughter of nearly 1 million Tutsis and moderate Hutus in Rwanda, many outsiders have depicted the tragedy. Hotel Rwanda and Shooting Dogs in particular put a human face on the unimaginable suffering and were highly regarded. But it's only recently that the survivors have made themselves heard. This is from a new film by a young Rwandan who watches as neighbours sort the remains of his own family. Gilbert Indahayo's raw and painfully personal documentary Behind This Convent is the story of how they were killed.
Making a film on genocide and you are a genocide survivor is very, very hard to do because sometimes you are supposed to go into the heart of the killer.
His family were among the 200 killed and dumped into pits behind this convent. But Indahayo doesn't know who murdered them, and his film is a search for more answers.
I made this film first to help myself, to express my inner feelings, to express the pain that I had living with 200 people buried behind my courtyard. It's something that I wanted to express.
The film also documents the collective reaction to the genocide, the anger at politicians, the soul-searching, confusion and pain, but also the hope. Daddy DiMaximo's film goes a step further. A genocide survivor and first-time director, DiMaximo interviews killers alongside the victims. He says he wants to break the silence, and his film tries to get inside the heads of the killers.
I asked them, what was it like? Did the baby cry? The killer said he thought the child was ready to die. He didn't cry. I cannot begin to understand that. It's too much for me. They were driven by total animosity.
But he's keeping his film under wraps until its premiere later this year during the genocide commemorations. Nearly every Rwandan lost a relative in the events of 1994. At the age of 9, Viateur Mundareri lost everybody.
I always have this traumatic thought. Why am I alive? Why are my parents dead? The killers left me. They thought I was the last Tutsi left alive. They said, you're the only one left. You're the one who tells the story.
Those words have haunted him ever since. He's modelled and acted, and now he wants to get behind the camera.
We talk about dead Tutsis, massacred Tutsis, and that's all true. But we also have to think about Hutu children, for example, whose parents were killed by the Liberation Army. They're somehow ignored.
Mundareri's controversial Hutu-sensitive film will probably meet some resistance.
Well, that's it for this fabulous picture show. Now, before this show, I wasn't a heavy rocker at all, but now...
What happened?
I don't know, it's just taken me over.
You're ready to bang your head now, aren't you?
I'm ready to listen to more music. Where am I going to find them?
You can go to their MySpace page, and you can also go to heavymetalinbaghdad.com.
There you go. So if you want to headbang, head to their MySpace. And if you just want to know more about film, well, you can join us on the next show. See you then.
So how would you rate the film out of 10 and why?
Would probably rate the film, I would say a safe 9 out of 10.
I came because it was Baghdad, not because of the heavy metal.
It's crazy, but the concept is crazy, like heavy metal band in Baghdad.
It was a very rare film. You don't usually get to see films that about war that concentrate on the individual.
I learnt how hard it is just to have a normal life in that kind of situation. I felt really naive to that before, and now I feel a bit more clued up.